Hello guys, this podcast is about Rich Dad Poor Dad book review by Notebooklm model. So, enjoy your podcast.
Ever wonder if the traditional advice about money, the stuff we all hear, is actually setting you up for success? Or maybe, just maybe, it's trapping you in a cycle.
That's a big question.
Yeah.
And it's right at the heart of Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Exactly. It's a book that's really challenged conventional wisdom for decades now. Today, we're doing a deep dive into it. We want to pull out the most powerful insights, really explore how Kiyosaki's unique upbringing shaped these, pretty radical financial ideas.
And it's important to say this isn't just about, tips for making more money. It's deeper. It's about fundamentally changing how you think about money.
Right.
Using this powerful framework he developed, contrasting two very different paths, two very different dads.
Let's start there with the two fathers, because that personal story is the foundation, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's crucial.
So Kiyosaki had his biological father, his poor dad, who was highly educated PhD, Stanford, Chicago, Northwestern, a top government official, really smart guy academically.
Check on the traditional scorecard, right?
Totally. But then there was his rich dad, his best friend Mike's father. This guy had dropped out after 8th grade.
Wow. Big difference.
Huge. But he went on to become, one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. And their advice on money, completely different worlds.
Polar opposites often.
Yeah, poor dad would say, the love of money is the root of all evil. But rich dad
said, the lack of money is the root of all evil.
See, it starts from such a different place. Or poor dad saying, I can't afford it.
Which Rich Dad apparently called mental laziness. Ouch.
Right. Rich Dad insisted on asking, okay, how can I afford it? One phrase just shuts your brain down.
And the other one forces it to actually think, to problem solve.
Exactly. And the career advice. Poor dad. Study hard so you can find a good company to work for.
Standard advice.
Rich Dad. Study hard so you can find a good company to buy.
Completely different goal. Owning versus working.
Even the house. Poor dad thought their home was their biggest investment, their greatest asset.
Which is what most people believe, right? It's the American dream, kind of.
But Rich Dad saw his house as a liability. He actually said if your house is your biggest investment, you're probably in trouble.
Okay, so what's fascinating here, I think, is how Kiyosaki didn't just pick one side. These conflicting views actually forced him, as a kid, to think for himself, to compare, contrast, and choose.
Yeah, that's a great point. It wasn't just passive learning.
And it makes you, the listener, think how much of your own financial thinking is, consciously chosen versus just inherited or absorbed from society. Kiyosaki really observed that money is primarily taught at home, not in school, which explains why you see really smart people, doctors, lawyers, whatever, still struggling financially. They have the professional skills, but maybe not the financial literacy.
That connects directly to his rule number 1, doesn't it? The absolute foundation.
It does. Rich Dad apparently told him, if you want to be rich, this is all you need to know. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability and buy assets.
Sounds almost too simple. But the definitions he uses are key. An asset puts money in your pocket.
Think rental income, dividends, money flowing in.
And a liability takes money out of your pocket.
Like your mortgage payment, car loan, credit card debt, money flowing out. It's all about the direction of cash flow.
He uses these simple diagrams, which are powerful even just described verbally. An asset generates income that flows into your income column. A liability generates expenses that flow out.
And the core issue, Kiyosaki argues, is that people confuse the two. They buy liabilities, maybe a bigger house, a nicer car, thinking they're building wealth.
Right, they feel richer because they have more stuff,
But their expenses go up, and they need to work harder just to pay for it all. That's the trap. That's the rat race.
Let's talk about that rat race, because it's such a vivid concept.
It really is. He describes it as this pattern where people's lives are controlled by essentially fear and greed.
Fear of not having money.
So you cling to the job, even if you hate it. And then greed, or maybe desire. You get a raise, you want nicer things, so you spend more.
And the cycle continues. More income, more expenses, needing more income, round and round.
Exactly. You work harder, taxes take more, expenses rise. You're stuck on the wheel.
He learned this lesson early, didn't he? That story about working for Rich Dad for 10 cents an hour.
Oh, yeah, that's classic.
Yeah.
He and Mike worked for Rich Dad's construction company, dusting cans or something, for 10 cents an hour. They felt exploited.
Understandably.
But then Rich Dad deliberately pushed them. He offered them $0 an hour.
Zero. Why?
To get them angry, basically. To make them stop thinking like employees just waiting for a paycheck and start thinking about how to create money themselves, to make their brains work.
That's intense parenting or mentoring, I guess.
Definitely unconventional.
Yeah.
But it was designed to break that emotional reaction. The fear of no money, the desire for just a bit more pay. He wanted them to think, not just react.
Did it work? I mean, besides making lead nickels, which got them in trouble.
Yeah, the counterfeiting phase.
Yeah.
But even that, Rich Dad apparently saw the initiative. He told them, you're only poor if you give up. Keep trying things. But the real breakthrough came from working for free. It forced them to look for opportunities. They saw the local store manager throwing away old comic books after ripping off the covers.
Right, because they couldn't be resold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Kiyosaki and Mike asked the distributor if they could just have the old comics. He said yes, as long as they didn't sell them.
So what did they do?
They opened a comic book library in Mike's basement, charged kids 10 cents admission to read for hours. They even hired Mike's sister as the librarian.
That's brilliant at 9 years old.
Right. They weren't working for money anymore.
Yeah.
Their system was working for them, generating passive income. That was the core lesson.
Wow. That's financial intelligence in action right there.
Precisely. And Kiyosaki breaks down this financial IQ into 4 main areas. It's not just about being smart, it's specific knowledge.
Okay, what are they?
First is accounting, financial literacy. Being able to read and understand numbers, financial statements. If you can't read the scoreboard, how do you know if you're winning?
Makes sense. What's next?
Second, investing, the science of making money. Different strategies, formulas, understanding risk and reward.
Okay.
Third, understanding markets, supply and demand, knowing the technical side, like market timing from charts, but also the fundamental side, the economic sense of an investment. Is it actually valuable?
Got it. And the last one?
Finally, the law, understanding things like tax advantages, corporate structures, legal ways to protect your assets, knowing the rules of the game the rich play by.
That legal part, especially taxes, seems like a huge focus for Rich Dad. He had that really provocative view of Robin Hood.
Yeah, calling Robin Hood a crook.
Yeah.
His argument, as Kiyosaki presents it, was that the whole tax the rich idea historically backfired.
How so?
Well, income tax initially was just for the wealthy, but the government's appetite for money grew, and eventually taxes trickled down and hit the poor and middle class the hardest, the very people who might have supported the initial idea.
Interesting perspective. Controversial, but interesting.
And Rich Dad's point wasn't about evading taxes, but about understanding the system. The rich don't just pay taxes like employees. They use financial intelligence to legally minimize them.
And corporations are key to that.
Exactly. A corporation isn't just a building. It's a legal structure. And the rules are different. Employees earn money, get taxed heavily, then try to spend what's left.
Right.
A corporation earns money, spends everything it legally can. First, things like legitimate business expenses, maybe travel for board meetings, car expenses, health costs, and then it gets taxed on whatever profit is left over.
So the order's completely flipped. Earn, spend, then tax.
Precisely. It's a huge advantage. Kiyosaki talks about buying his Porsche through his company, using pre-tax dollars. It's about knowing the rules and using them.
He mentions things like the 1031 exchange in real estate too, right?
Yes, that's a classic example. It allows real estate investors to sell a property, take the profits, and roll them into a new similar property without paying capital gains tax right away. You could potentially defer taxes almost indefinitely.
Which keeps more of your money working for you, growing.
Exactly. It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How many people are just focused on their paycheck, completely unaware of these legal strategies the wealthy use? The game is just different.
Okay, so the strategies are powerful, but knowing them isn't enough. Kiyosaki talks about obstacles, right? Things that stop people.
Oh, absolutely. He identifies 5 big ones: fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance.
Let's touch on those. Fear first. The fear of losing money.
Yeah, and his point is stark. People are so afraid of losing that they lose. Most successful people have failed, often many times. Losing is part of winning.
Like Colonel Sanders getting rejected over 1,000 times.
Exactly. For winners, losing inspires them. For losers, it defeats them. You have to be willing to risk intelligently, of course, and learn from mistakes.
Okay, then cynicism. The chicken little sky is falling attitude.
Right. The doubters, the critics who are always finding reasons not to do something, like his friend who missed a great deal because the neighbor said it was bad. Cynics criticize, winners analyze.
And laziness. He says it hides behind being busy.
Yeah, the people who are too busy working or watching TV to take care of their wealth or health, and again, defaulting to, I can't afford it, instead of asking, how can I afford it? That's a form of laziness, he argues.
Then bad habits. What's the key one there?
Paying yourself last. Most people pay their bills, the government, everyone else first, and save or invest only if there's something left over.
Which often there isn't.
Exactly. Rich Dad taught him to pay yourself first. Put money into your asset column before you pay your bills.
Doesn't that get you in trouble with creditors?
He argues the pressure is actually good. It forces you to find other ways to generate income to cover those bills, making you smarter and stronger financially.
It takes discipline, though.
Definitely. And the last obstacle, arrogance.
Yeah, thinking you know it all. Believing that what you don't know isn't important. Kiyosaki stresses humility, being willing to learn from experts, read books, take courses. Arrogance is ignorance plus ego. So, knowing the obstacles, what are some concrete actions Kiyosaki suggests to, wake up your financial genius?
He gives a whole list of to-dos. A big one is, stop doing what's not working. Sounds simple, but it means honestly assessing your situation and having the guts to change.
Okay, what else?
Look for new ideas. Read constantly, take classes, attend seminars. He mentions a $385 course that helped him make millions. Keep learning.
Be proactive.
And make lots of offers. He compares investing to dating. You got to put yourself out there. You don't know what a good deal is until you start negotiating. Make offers, even low ones. Someone might say yes.
Interesting analogy.
Also, shop for bargains. When markets crash stocks, real estate, most people run away scared. Investors run towards the sale. That's when fortunes are made.
Contrarian thinking.
Right. And pay your brokers well. Good advisors, brokers, accountants are invaluable. They provide information, save you time, make you money. Don't cheap out on expertise.
That makes sense. Get good people on your team.
And here's a big one. Use assets to buy luxuries. Don't use your salary or credit. Build an asset first, like a rental property, and let the cash flow from that asset buy the fancy car or the vacation.
So the asset pays for the toy.
Exactly. The rich buy assets first, and the income from assets buys the luxuries. The middle class tends to buy luxuries first, often on credit, digging themselves deeper into liability.
That's a powerful shift in thinking. I remember the story about his son and the car, too.
Oh, yeah. Gave him 3K, told him to invest it and turn it into 6K, then buy the car. The son did it, learned about investing, and found that more exciting than the car itself.
Teaches the process, not just the reward.
And finally, teach and you shall receive. Giving back, whether it's time, money, or knowledge. He found that teaching others actually deepened his own understanding. It's a virtuous cycle.
Wow. So putting it all together, this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it really hammers home that financial freedom isn't just about your paycheck. It's about your financial IQ.
Totally. It's about how you think, the knowledge you apply. Money is just an idea, as he says.
It's what's in your head that determines what's in your hands. That really sticks. And the cash flow games he created seem like a practical way to actually practice this stuff, right? Not just read about it.
Yeah, experiential learning. Because you can't learn to ride a bike by reading a manual. You have to try, fall off, get back on. Same with financial skills.
So a final thought, perhaps.
Well, Kiyosaki famously said, risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. So if you commit to this path to continuous financial education, what opportunities that seem risky to others might suddenly look like clear possibilities to you just because you've learned what you're doing? It really challenges you to keep learning, keep exploring.
Thank you for listening this podcast. I hope you got to learn something about this Rich Dad Poor Dad book by Robert Kiyosaki. See you next time.